Welcome to Tipper Tantrums Podcast. I'm Brandi. That's
I'm
Wes.
Wes.
We got John over here,
Hey,
man behind the camera, the screen, the technical stuff.
incognito.
Yeah.
Don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain.
Like Wizard of Oz.
And Pooh Bear all put in one with that.
Oh,
That was a little creepy, but I was going to talk about it, but it was a little creepy.
Well, we're interviewing each other. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, if you have a big brother, little sister, or any combination in between of those, if you ever wanted to interview them, well, today, me and my sister, we have given each other that chance. Really, no question is off the table, really, I would say. Um, so I'm going to be asking her some questions. She's going to be asking me some questions. Little back and forth interview because I've always I feel like I know my sister. I feel like I know Brandi. But I guess today I'm going to learn exactly how, not how well I know her, but like I'm going to get to know my sister. And she's going to be able to get to know her brother, I guess. We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see.
who are you?
Who are you? So
All
when
right,
the
you want to
mom,
go there? You want to go
yes,
first?
sure. So when the aliens dropped you off to mom and dad, what was
Yes,
that like?
it was cold.
No, okay. So my first real question for you is what was it like having a big brother?
Hold on, my dog's barking a little.
Cammy, what was it like having a big brother?
She has a little brother.
Oh, a little brother. Sorry.
She was here before Jaren, so
Oh yeah.
she's a little brother. So having a big brother growing up, it was kind of like it was cool because it was like I always had somebody like who had been there, done that kind of thing, like to a certain extent because you're a boy and I'm a girl. But like at the same time, like it was nice because it was like I could just feel like, okay, well if I like complain or something, my big brother's gonna beat them up or something, you know what I mean? Even if you weren't going to, in my head, that's what would happen. So yeah, it was cool. Um, having like feeling like I had an ally, a lot of the time. Obviously, when we were little, like it was like you're my worst enemy,
Hmm.
and but like we still had each other's back, like you know what I mean. Like we would fight and stuff like that, but still, if like anybody else said something like down the street or anything, then it was like, all right, buck up, like let's go, bruh. Like you know what I mean. So it was good. It was nice. It was nice feeling like I had someone there for me, especially when like mom and dad weren't.
Right. With us spending so much time with Kristen and Steven and stuff like that, did you ever feel like a middle child almost? Like you had a younger brother. Well, you and Kristen are almost like twins, just like me and Ryan were kind of like twins.
So
So I
here,
felt
let
like,
me tell you the age gap between us, okay? Because
okay,
like
yeah.
there's Josh, who's like 5 years older than you guys, right? And then comes Kristen, and Kristen's born in November. Then the following May, I was born, and then the
Mhm.
following October, Stephen was born. So Kristen's 6 months older than me. Stephen is 5 months younger than me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So I'm like
okay.
literally right in the middle.
How was that? Did you also feel like a middle child between
Yeah.
y'all three?
But I feel like it wasn't necessarily like a middle child. I did feel like I was pulled like sometimes between them. Luckily a lot of times like it was like us three against like you guys. But at the same time, like I felt like I was the worrier. I've always been the worrier. Like worrying about what's gonna happen, what we're gonna get into, like how much trouble we're gonna get in, that kind of thing. So and I feel like that's very like middle child vibe. You know what I mean? Like, so, and I felt like I also had to like look out for everybody too. So yeah, I had like all of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I feel like you being like a bigger, like the big brother, me being the little sister, I wasn't babied. I feel like. Did you feel like I was babied?
Mm, no, not really.
Yeah.
There's so
Like,
much going
so,
on that there was really like no time for babying
yeah.
anyone, really.
Yeah. So it wasn't like the like baby, like the baby of the family, like kind of situation ever. So because I wasn't the baby of the family, Steven was, you know?
Right. It as a big brother and stuff like that, like sometimes it felt like I was a big brother at times, and then sometimes whenever Josh was around, I didn't feel like the big brother. I always felt like he was the big brother. You know
Like
what I
you're the
mean?
middle child too.
And kind of like it was real weird. Like I felt like it was a real weird situation. Well, not only that, but like with Ryan being me and Ryan only being like a week and a day apart, we were kind of treated like twins almost. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
we got the same kind of clothes. You know, only his was like one color, mine was the other color. We got the same kind of toys, only his was one thing and mine was the other thing. You
Kristen
know,
and I got the same stuff though, you know what I mean? Like we
yeah.
had like the same outfits and like different colors, or like we would get baby dolls and like one of them would be wearing pink and one of them would be wearing like purple or blue, like you know what I mean?
And
So
the only time that the only time I felt like I got babied really and like anything like that was whenever mom and dad sent me to Morgan and Crystal's
yeah,
because Morgan and Crystal didn't have Jenny at the time and they would babysit me, you know what I mean? And like they
baby.
kind of like babied me. Yeah.
You
It
got
was
that one-on-one attention.
I got that one-on-one attention. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Which was really cool. So like
Yeah.
it was different and weird. You know what I mean? Sometimes I felt like a big brother, sometimes I didn't, you know, and stuff like that. I guess like it just depends on like what house and how close or far apart we were from our cousins, really.
Yeah. But before like we were before I and like Kristen even like before we were even in the picture, did you feel like do you even remember what that was like?
Oh, I got babied hardcore because of Mamaw.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I was
See,
like, yeah, because whenever Mamaw was alive and she was just like either like living with us or living downstairs, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I did get babied. I don't remember like very much of that. All I remember is like us tossing the ball back and forth and like her being a very loving person, you know,
yeah.
and stuff like that. Uh, but really that's and I didn't get much of that because she wasn't alive very for, you know, maybe
Right.
like
And to give some context, we're only like 2 years, 9 months apart. So,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So like no, I don't really remember that much of it, but like from like I don't know, like I do there's like whenever I remember Mamaw, like I got a tattoo because of her, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
You know, that's like as close to the heart as I could get without getting it onto my chest. And I just yeah, and because like every time that I remember Mamaw, always it like it feels like yeah, almost like a me being babied or spoiled or a very warmth, loving feeling. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. We say baby and spoiled, but it was probably just like some nurturing and loving and
Actually, what a kid's supposed to
yeah. Not saying that our parents didn't love us, because like we said again, like we know that like our parents do love us and they've had their own challenges, and not saying that they didn't show that they loved us and stuff like that. But
They also had us like at 20, like they started having kids at 21.
yeah, mom and dad were 21 when you were born, and they were like 23 when I was born. 24.
If I like me looking back, if I would have had a kid whenever I was 21 and 22, oh
Yeah.
hell no. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a learning curve, right? So,
I
all
mean, yeah,
right.
because like for the longest time, like I didn't really want kids because like I was on like that. I was doing especially at 21, 22. I was on that wrestling path. You know what I mean? That was the only focus in front of me, like for real. Like I had like tunnel vision. That was the only thing that I'm going to do for the rest of my life. I don't care if I'm wrestling in a freaking wheelchair or a body cast. I'm going to be start making shows. You know what I mean? You know, I didn't want kids because like I knew that with that lifestyle and that like zero focused in, like there was no room, time, energy. You know what I mean? It was only until like later years that I started slowing down, you know what I mean? And like,
Because you were 30 whenever Remy was born, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It took 10 years to be like, you know, to actually want to feel like a dad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I feel like I think whenever like I first found out with Jaren, like that I was pregnant. Okay. Also, like both of our kids were surprises. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Like your kid was a surprise, my kid was a surprise. I still like remember sitting like on my bed, like rocking back and forth, being like, "Oh my God, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do?" And I was like, I was literally like 26 years old. Like it wasn't like I was like a baby, you know what I mean? So it's just like thinking about like having a kid like so much earlier than that. It would have been like crazy. And I was like, about to get married. Like we found out we were pregnant like 14 weeks before like we got married. So it wasn't like it was, a bad situation or anything. But like, yeah, so I wasn't dead set on having kids either. I was still going back and forth about it. So I think, like the surprise just kind of kicked us in the pants and was like, all right, it's happening.
yeah, yeah. But and life has like a funny way of doing that. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Of just being like, here's the situation, sink or swim. You know what I mean? And thank God we're good swimmers because
Right?
if
Right?
not, we would have drowned it a long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which,
Okay. But
okay, go ahead.
I was gonna say next question.
Uh, okay, so yeah, I guess that brings me on to the next question is that like going through, I guess with like school and through life, I guess it
Hmm.
will contain to both. Uh, Going through like all those moves and stuff like that, it always seemed like you transitioned well. Like like going through all those different schools, different teachers, meeting new people, having to like almost introduce myself all over again and stuff like that. Like I didn't transition well. It always seemed like you kind of transitioned. It seems like you transitioned well, like because you always kept your grades. Like me and Dad was talking, it always seemed like you kept your grades. You always seemed like you had a willingness to learn and like a want to like an achieve to get high achievements in your academics. And then like I mean, um, yeah. So like, what was that like? What was the transitions for you like?
So, I mean, I'm not sure if you remember, but like starting even around like third grade, I started being like, I don't want to go to school. Like, I'm sick. I don't want to go to school. Like, I started staying home and stuff like that a lot. And because I didn't want to go, because it was just like going from school to school, it was like everybody was on different curriculums. Everything was like so different. And so, like I feel like I was smart, like I picked up quickly, that kind of thing. But like it was hard. It was really hard. And it was hard like a lot of times because I feel like I didn't have a choice, like I had to be the smart kid. Like I had to, like I felt like that's what I had to provide. Like I felt like I didn't have anything else to give. Like you were like the sportsy one, like you were like the funny one, like always making everyone laugh and stuff like that. And like that's all I had. You know what I mean? Like that was what was expected of me, like to be like the smart one or like to get all these like academic achievements. Like how many times do you remember like our parents being like, yeah, you're gonna be a lawyer or a doctor or something, like you're gonna make all this money, and I'm just like, okay, okay, like you know what I mean? Like I like there was all those expectations, and so I felt like if I did not perform and do those things, like I was gonna be looked over, or like I wouldn't matter.
But like I think the dad for sure thought you were going to be a lawyer just because of the way that like you like to argue or like you always had a snappy comeback or like there wasn't like a time to think, you know what I mean? You always kept someone on their toes. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? I think that's the reason why dad was like, yeah, she's gonna be a lawyer. She's gonna be a lawyer.
yeah, yeah. And I think like once we got to like high school and stuff like that, like that's when I kind of rebelled, you know what I mean, against the academics. And I was like, F this, like, because I felt kind of like our parents, like, I don't know, it, I don't want to say like I didn't get attention, you know what I mean? Or like there wasn't any like focus on me or anything like that, or like, but I was like, screw it. Like, people don't care either way, apparently. So, like, if I'm getting good grades or not, like, I don't care anymore. Like, I just don't. Like, and I went through, that kind of place where, like, I felt like, we were in the same place for so long. And it was like, I kept waiting for the other shoe to drop for us to move. And so I could start over somewhere else, or something like that. Like, I was always waiting for the other shoe to drop, I guess. Like, I was always waiting to move.
So that's that okay. So really the stopping of that is you're like was like
Where I said F it to the academics. Well, that was like kind of, I don't know. It was like, I guess that's kind of when everything kind of was settled and like, not really settled, but like when we were in one place, like in one school district or one town for, a good amount of time. And it was like, things were like rocky with mom and dad for a long time, during that time. And it was like we talked about, like that chaos button. Like when there's not, when I don't feel like we're moving or doing something else, so like I'm gonna set the rest of my world on fire and screw
what
everything else.
did you ever feel like a judge like whenever we did start settling down was actually whenever we actually had the same teachers and
Yeah.
everything, some of the same teachers. Did you ever felt like prejudged coming into one of the teachers' room because they've had me before and I was such just like a I've never turned in an assignment ever unless you really caught my attention upon it kind of person? Did you ever feel like prejudged, like, oh, here's another Pinkley, probably not going to get an assignment or anything like that from them?
No, because I think like from what you were known as is like, oh, that's the kid, like your brother's the kid that does front flips in front of everybody in the front of the class. Like, oh, your brother's like the guy who's like funny and like laughs and stuff like that. It was never of like, oh, your brother is like a bad student or anything like that. I never felt like I was judged on anything like that of academically. Like there was never like that kind of pressure from any like teachers or anything like that.
Okay. What was it like being the smart one of us two? Being the younger and being the smart one? Because whenever you taught me how to do the whole loop, swoosh, and pull to tie my shoes. Before that, I was just a bunny ears kid. You know what I mean? And then you learned the loop, swoop, pull, and then you taught me.
Hmm.
So, like as a younger child, what was it like having to be the smart one and kind of be the voice of reason to your older sibling?
It was a lot. It was a lot of pressure. It was a lot of pressure because it's like I feel like you were given that space to make mistakes and like, you know what I mean? And like forget things or, do something wacky. And I feel like I wasn't given that same space. Like I had to be the one that was on, that was like, knew everybody's names, knew everybody's phone numbers, where we live, what was going on, how to keep track of everything. You know what I mean? So I feel like I wasn't given that space to like fuck up or like do like silly, crazy things. So it was a lot of pressure. Like I said, and then it kind of felt like that was my identity. Like I was the smart one. Like I was the good one. You know what I mean? So it was a lot of pressure. It sucks. Let me tell you, it sucks. Because when I would like bring home a report card or something and it wasn't just A's and B's, then it was just like I would get in trouble and I would get grounded and things like that. And I'm just like, what the heck? Like Wes like got a C or something too. Like, and it would be like, well, he's a boy. Like that's just his grades. That's his normal. Okay. All right. It's fine. So
So
it was a lot of pressure.
did you ever feel like there was favoritism in that sort of way for me?
I do. In which I've kind of talked to mom about this a little bit, and I feel like even mom like has talked about it where like she was so worried about you feeling like you were going to be left out that she overcompensated for like the things that you wanted to do or like, like making sure that you were okay or you didn't have extra stressors and stuff like that. And so it was kind of like I felt like I feel like at different times we were each the favorite, but I feel like you got babied a little more than me.
Or by mom, especially. I
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. But
Um,
you were her baby boy. You were her firstborn.
did you ever learn anything from me?
Well, yeah, I learned how to throw a punch. I learned how to stick up for myself. You know what I mean? I learned how to fight. And, I learned like different driving techniques. You taught me, like, as I was riding with you, like, you would tell me things, like, as we're going, like, you would teach me about those things. Like, when you're pulling up to a stoplight, make sure you're never behind a semi because you're going to be waiting there forever. So now in my head, like, every time I'm pulling up to a stoplight, like, I hear your voice, like, saying, like, don't be behind that semi. You're going to be stuck here forever. You know what I mean? Like, so, and, it's like little things. Like, I feel like you've taught me a lot, like, about myself, like going for the things that you want and things that you you like your dreams and things like that. Cause I feel like you were never afraid to do those things. And so, yeah, I feel like you taught me a lot.
Afraid and stupidity goes hand in hand, Brandy.
You mean like fearless and stupidity go hand
Yeah,
in
yeah,
hand?
yeah. It goes hand in hand. You
Yeah.
gotta to be fearless. You gotta be kind of stupid too,
And I was a chicken shit.
but smart.
Yeah.
um, let's see here. What's another one? We did that one. Okay, so Oliver's theory, as me and Oliver like went to different towns and stuff like that, like rode together around a lot. Like anytime that he would drive, like
Hmm.
an hour out of anywhere, I would become narcoleptic. You know what I mean? Like, how, because dad, like, would sit in a chair and, like, nod off. You know what I mean? And just,
Hmm.
like, he's like, that's what happened. I just, like, nod, literally nod off. Just, like,
Yeah.
nod off. He was like, one time I had a full conversation. I just thought you were just saying yes to everything. You know what I mean? But like,
You're the yes man.
yeah, just But all
You do
around,
that, dude. You do it.
so like, I'd also tell him like all these times of us being out, and always on the go and stuff like that. He had a theory that since we'd be out all the time, you know what I mean? Every time we got into the car to actually go home would be our bedtime. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And we would sleep. And because of that, anytime that I get into a car within an hour, if we're going somewhere within an hour, I'm narcoleptic. You know what I mean? So my question is to you, or I guess to John rather. John, does an hour out of any road trip, does Brandy become narcoleptic?
No, I've never really seen her not off. It's
Never.
usually me
Oh.
doing that.
So listen, I used to be like that when we were kids. I used to be like, I would always fall asleep in the car. Doesn't matter where we're going, I'd always fall asleep in the car.
That's how I was.
But as I became an adult, I became such a control freak that like if I didn't see where we were going or make sure we were actually stopping at this stoplight or like no other cars were like cutting and hitting us,
Mhm.
I can't. Like I cannot sleep in the car. Now I can't because I think it's like one, my husband has fallen asleep and totaled two cars thus far. So, so there's a little anxiety there, and
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I remember driving back one time with dad, like from Tennessee. Like we went down, I think it was for like Uncle Glenn's funeral and driving back. And I think you were driving his truck, or like he was driving his truck and you were in the car with me. And then he started falling asleep, like in the truck. So then like he like got in the car with me and then like you drove his truck and I was driving, like he was driving the car so I could like keep him awake and he was still like falling asleep. And so
Mhm.
it's like pull over, like, like I hadn't had my license for like even a year yet, but I was like, pull over, I'll drive, like, you know what I mean? So I think that my anxiety does not allow me to do
Got you.
that. But as when I was a kid, before I was anxiety ridden, like, yes, I fell asleep every time we were in the car. Like we could be 10 minutes in the car and I was asleep.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So, um, I guess next question.
Hold on, pause. As like a medical professional, however, dad has sleep apnea, and that's why he falls asleep all the time because he doesn't sleep well at night. You,
Yeah,
sir, probably should get checked for some sleep apnea. Just saying.
maybe. I
Yeah,
could do that. I could do
yeah,
that. But that I did that before, like before smoking and stuff like that too.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I can see that, but like as an adult, you should probably just get checked out. You know what I'm saying?
I got you. Uh, see here.
We
Um,
have 9 minutes.
9 minutes.
Yep.
Okay. Um, John, since I do have a question for you. Mom always said that I was an intimidating person, especially like in whenever Brandy was going through high school and starting college. I was like really into wrestling and stuff like that. And Brandy said, or mom said that I was intimidating to a lot of guys or guy friends that Brandy had. And that's the reason why no one really like went after Brady or like kind of hit on her a lot and stuff like that because Brady is a very beautiful girl. Were you ever intimidated by me? Did I ever come off intimidating to you or like anything like that? Because to me, I've never thought of myself as an intimidating person, especially whenever like you look at dad's 6'7", you know what I mean?
Right.
Close to 300 pounds. I'm 5'9", you know what I mean? Like I think of myself as the runt of the family, to be honest, more than anything. So like I never thought of myself as an intimidating person. Was I intimidating to you ever?
Uh, Well, first off, you kind of got the RBF, so that kind of alludes to the
I
to
love
that
Arby's.
a little bit, yeah.
Oh, sure.
When you're not like showing a facial emotion, yeah. But I remember a couple times before I like actually met you and talked to you, it was kind of like, oh, this guy seems very serious. So there's a little bit right there, but after I met you and talked to you the first couple times, I was like, okay, yeah, I know what this is. Because I had the same issue in high school. Everybody thought the same thing of me. Because me and my younger sister have RBF. So like every time they'd see us in the hallway, we were just angry all the time. So
It's definitely RBF is definitely like a
The
defense
genetic.
mechanism. No,
Oh,
I'd say a defense mechanism. Like I
true.
I used to use it as a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because like especially like in middle school and high school, I kind of got like bullied a little bit. But if I always look like a little angry pit
people
bull,
will
you know
back
what I
off.
mean, or just like a little angry chihuahua, no one really wants to mess with an angry chihuahua. They'll just sit back and look at it.
Yep.
So
That makes sense.
So,
That's probably why I had
but I
RBF
feel
too.
like mom used to say the same thing to me of like, oh, you're just intimidating. You're intimidating. And I'm like, I'm just here. Like, how am I intimidating? Like, I haven't done anything. But I also feel like I didn't never put myself out there either. Like I was never like I didn't start like putting myself out there and like kind of like I don't know, trying or anything until like college. You know what I mean? And at that time, like we had the same friends and like because like my sorority is sister sorority to your fraternity, and so like everyone, you know what I mean, and everyone like I remember hearing like some of your fraternity brothers being like, no, that's my sister, she's off limits, you know what I mean, and I'm like, you know what I mean, so
John,
it's
did
just
you ever hear that?
probably not.
Is he
Probably
there?
because his
Sorry,
class was
Jaren's.
so much after yours, you know, so
Oh yeah,
far
that's
after,
true.
you know what I mean.
Sorry, Jaren was distracting me. Did you ask me a question? Because I didn't.
Did I? Uh
Yeah, you were asking if he had ever heard like, oh, that's what's his sister, like
oh yeah, did you ever
that's a
hear that
no
Brandi
go.
was off limits because of me?
Oh yeah, 100%. Straight out the gate.
He's like, nah, fuck that rule.
Well, honestly, I wasn't concerned about it because I was like, oh, okay, whatever. And then honestly, Marcus is kind of to blame because I was talking to him. I was like, oh yeah, she's pretty cute, but I'm not gonna try anything. And he's like, bet. And then he just goes, hey, this guy thinks you're cute. And then she came up to me and I was like, shit.
That was also my heavy drinking days. Can we just put that out there?
uh,
But
Brendan, when did you recognize that we have a self-destruction button?
when I started therapy,
Really?
yeah. So yeah, because I used to always feel like, oh, it's like it's the world. It's not me. It's the world. Like the world is like out to get me kind of thing. You know what I mean? And like then it once I started like going to therapy like as an adult and like talking through my stuff, you know, and just like putting it out there for my therapist, it was kind of like it clicked in my head and she helped me realize like when things get so good in your life or so calm in your life, you are gonna fuck it up. Like that's what you do to kind of like one, protect yourself and two, because you're scared. You know what I mean? And like you and also like we thrive in chaos. Like I thrive in chaos. I do my best work when it is crazy at work. Like that's when I'm like on. I'm like, all right, let's go. Let's get this done. Let's do all these things that we need to do. Like I might be anxious, but I'm like, all right, let's get that. Like I'm gonna get it done. And so I think, yeah, that's kind of when I realized it. And so like that, I mean, I've been working on it.
Is there a technical term for the self-destruct button?
I don't know. I can ask my therapist.
Yeah, I think that would be cool to know, like if there's like a technical term, so I can quit. Actually, I mean, I like the term self-destruct button, but also like I, I like to I like to think of myself as like a robot. So like
Yeah.
have a self-destruct button is mandatory to most robots.
I mean, I'm sure there is. I'm sure there's like, there is, but I mean, also at the same time, like we both have ADD, ADHD as well. So it's also like if there's not crazy stuff going on the outside, there's craziness on the inside our brains at the same time. So it's like, okay, like chaos 24/7.
All right, I got two more questions.
Okay, I wonder if we're about out of time.
Are we about out of time?
I can hear him talking to Jaren.
Okay, one quick question then.
Okay,
And uh, favorite band? What's your favorite band?
Hughes.
The Used.
Yeah,
Why? Why?
Lunacy Fringe is my favorite song on there
Uh-huh. Why
of theirs.
is there like a reason why The Used is your favorite band?
I think it's just like their stuff is like so like relatable sometimes, and like I can scream to them like when I'm like upset and like needing to get that out. Like I can they have moments where like they're singing and they have moments where they're screaming. So it's just like I can let all of my shit out like in one song. You know what I mean? And feel so much better.
Hmm.
And so but they also like they have some like soft ballads, you know what I mean? Like they got it all.
Right.
So yeah,
All right.
they're a good one.
Um, will it let us know that we're out of time?
It'll just click off usually.
It'll just click off.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you um three or four songs that would explain your life that or like if someone would listen to them would be like this would be like the soundtrack to Brady's life.
Oh God. The soundtrack to my life. Oh. Okay, so Lunacy Fringe, of course. And um oh my gosh. These Nights by Skillet, like that one that one like helped me through my teenage years, obviously. But it doesn't like it wouldn't be my soundtrack of my life, you know what I mean? It would be like Counting Crows, like Big Yellow Taxi, like is a good one too.
Yeah,
So
I guess like well what I meant was like not explain your life, but like and if they would listen to like those songs, they would kind of get like the essence of Brandy. You know what I mean?
oh Lord. Still Lunacy Fringe. Because if you listen to it, you already know. Um, but um, gosh, I don't even know. It depends on the day, because like I don't know, like you never know who you're gonna get, like or what you're gonna get. Because like some days I'm just like the peachy freaking person, and I'm like, singing like Vacation by the Dirty Heads, and then the other days I'm like listening to like Simple Plan of like, you know, just a kid and like screaming that, you know what I mean? So it's like I have my bright, sunny, sunflower, like hippie days, and I have my days where I'm just like, F the world. But then I also have my holy days, and I'm listening to, listen to some Jesus music. So it's like, it depends on the day.
Oh, um, okay. One last question, and then I'll switch it over to you. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Out of all of our stories and everything, what would you say is your craziest?
Craziest story. Of like both of us or just like in general?
No, just in general.
Oh my gosh. I don't know. It's like I've done some crazy stuff by myself too. Like,
Right.
I don't know, because like I mean, one time me and Holly got super drunk and decided to walk to Walgreens like dead of night, and like it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and these guys were down in this alley hooting and hollering at us, and then like we're like, oh fuck, but we're drunk as hell. So we're like, what do? We can't call the cops, and so we called Peaky. She had to get out of bed because it's again like 2 o'clock in the morning, and she comes and picks us up and takes us back to my house. And the next day we wake up and find out that those guys like murdered somebody across the street. So it's like, yeah, yeah, I don't know. It's just crazy stuff. I mean, there's like different things with like founders and stuff like that, like crazy things that happen there, like but like of our childhood, I don't know, like
Dad actually asked me this question. So I was just like, oh, that's a pretty good question to ask. So yeah, what do you think would be like one of our childhood's craziest?
I don't know. There was always that time like when mom and dad were split up like the second time and like dad would get and like pick us up from Laura's and like or pick us up to go to Laura's and like he was a little intoxicated and he'd be going like 90 down the freeway with us in the car. There's that. And then there's a time that like the same situation, but like with mom, like it was like New Year's and dad was supposed to come and spend like New Year's with us, but instead like he didn't show up. And so mom's like, get in the car, we're going over there. And like we drive by, like it's like dead of night and like we drive by Laura's trailer and mom's like pushing on the horn being like fuck you, you motherfucker, you know what I mean, and like our mom doesn't cuss, so I'm just like like I'm in 6th grade, I don't really know what's going on right now. You know, like so I don't know. No, okay, you know what this when mom and grandma got into that fist fight, seeing them go at it, both falling on the couch, and then dad and Dennis getting into a fight, you know, and like I remember running back to mom and dad's room and hiding and like crying and like praying to God. So like it would just stop and everyone would go back to normal.
Really slow, give me some wings when I
Yeah,
fall
yeah.
away.
So yeah.
Uh, all right. I think that's the ending of my questioning.
Okay. All right. Are you ready for mine?
I hope so.
Okay, when did you realize that I'm actually really cool?
When you were really cool,
When did you realize I'm actually really cool?
it took me a little bit.
It took me a little bit too.
Um, we were on Reel,
Yeah,
and you put in either the Used or My Chemical Romance.
yeah.
'Cause I'm pretty sure either you or Aaron were the ones who showed me one of them. But I remember like walking in and you listening to them and
Hmm.
actually liking the song that you were listening to and like asking you about it. And that was like also the time like you were wearing like
That was my
your
emo face.
black. Yeah. You started like dyeing like your bangs, and then you were wearing that sugar skull hoodie all the time. The black one with the like almost rainbow skulls on it. And yeah, then I was just like, okay, I think my sister's cool.
She's
You know
alright.
what I mean?
She's cool.
She's all right. She's all right. Like, well, not only that, but it's just like it was almost like like I
Because
know,
you were
like I
also
saw,
in that phase. Like you were,
yeah, I saw myself in you.
yeah.
I was like, oh, I know that. I know what she's doing. I
I
I
know that
reckon,
phase.
yeah, I recognize those
It
warning
was never a
signs.
phase for me, I feel like. I feel
What's
like I'm
that?
still in it. I feel like it's not a phase, it's just my life.
Yeah, our colors just get brighter, really. That's
Yes. Yeah. Like I'm okay with like a little bit of brighter colors, like sometimes, but
yeah. Yeah, the skulls and everything are still there, just like colors are brighter.
yeah. Yeah. Like on our like Christmas sweater day, like for work this year, like I wore like my sweater with skulls on it, and people are like, "That's one way to look at it," and I'm just like, "That's my only sweater." Like, so yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, I think that, but also like yeah, that's whenever like yeah, we started like swapping or not swapping, but I was like listening to more emo music, and
Yeah.
that like from you and from Aaron and stuff like that, and like kind of getting into the emo phase. And then like I was also putting together like the actual Shank character around that time too. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? So like I don't know, like I was, to be honest, like I had my own teenage janks, but I was getting some off yours too, and then just like almost like using it for wrestling, almost in a way.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, yeah.
Okay.
So that's probably whenever I was just like, oh, okay. But also like before then, like I didn't like, to be honest, you were like my little sister, you know what I mean? Like it was like my job to look after you. So like no matter
Yeah.
what, like I always wanted to show you what I thought was cool anyways, just so like I don't know, just so we weren't just, you know, flip
Siblings,
flop.
like
Because we were
friends.
already kind of like opposites in a way, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like with us being opposites, as a big brother, I wanted to just show you kind of some stuff, just so like there was some kind of level ground between us.
Yeah. Yep. And then you never got rid of me. Um,
But
because
that's
I mean,
cool.
yeah, but like honestly though, like as we're growing up, like mom and dad always used to tell us, like you're all each other are gonna have one day, like you're gonna have to be each other's best friends and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So I think that that also like kind of helped too, like us like kind of realizing that. But I guess that kind of leads me to my next question. Did you ever feel like I was a burden
No,
as a sibling?
no.
Like
I mean,
me
you
hanging
mean
around and stuff like that?
my friends want to hang out, you want to join. I don't want to take my little sister in a way, or do you mean like,
Yeah.
mm, not really? Because not you didn't really want to. No, because like the things that we did, no, no, no. I mean, like I guess if like going over to Dale's house with Ryan, I guess yeah, only because I felt like that was like my escape from
Hmm.
everything. Like going over to Dale's house with Ryan, that was like not only was that like Ryan's world, but that was like me getting to go over there, and escape my world to go over there for a little bit. So
Yeah.
whenever you would come with us, yes, sometimes that and
Because you
then,
guys
but
wouldn't
like
hang out with me. You guys wouldn't even let me join, like hang out in Ryan's room. I just had to sit in the living room by myself while like Dale and Lori were at work. Okay.
but at
So
the same time, no, because like I mean, you joined KWF and everything, like
yeah.
you, you know what I mean? So like, no, not really. And you knew how to play sports, so like anytime that we wanted to play sports, unless it was football that had to do with tackling, which you never really wanted to be a part of, but like baseball, like I would always put you out on the field. You always were a good fielder.
Yeah. I can hit the ball.
You could hit the ball too.
Okay. So, all right. So, did you ever want to like kick me out of like your group like as we got older, like your friends, like when I would like hang out with like Aaron too and like and like Johnny and Jesse and Amy and stuff like that? Were you ever like, dang it, like why's my sister gotta be here too? Like, or was
No,
it just like, oh, she's here too? That's cool.
no, almost at like that point, in that point, I was just our friends were so interwoven and everything like that. It was almost just like, yeah, of course my sister's going to come for this ride too. You know what I mean? She's
Yeah.
been on every other ride with me. Of course she's going to be on this ride as well. Like, why wouldn't she?
Yeah. But piggybacking on that, like, do you ever regret telling me about Beta Xi Omega?
No, no, because didn't you like almost like I'm going to come over here no matter what, oh, kind of?
No, because, so, okay, that's a different story, but we'll get to that. At the same, like, because before, like, I was rushing Kappa, remember that? And you're like,
Yeah.
no, ma'am. You're like, go check out these guys, and I was like, okay, like, I'll go check them out, and it was like a much better fit for me, you know what I mean? But did you ever, like, whenever you got to a party or something, and I was there and you're like, oh, my sister's
No,
here too?
no, to be honest, like that's kind of the reason why I showed you uh uh Omega
Beta Xi.
because yeah, or sorry, fuck. Beta Xi, Omega. That's the reason why I showed you Beta Xi was because one, like the I don't know if the kappas are like this kind of the same kappas whenever Aunt Cassie joined.
No disrespect, no disrespect.
No disrespect, but
They were different.
they were different, and I just I
Didn't
I
trust
didn't
them.
see. I didn't trust him with my little sister.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry. I didn't trust him with my little sister. The girls from Beta Xi, we hung around them. You know what I mean? Like they were always there. Like they seemed like a better fit for you. Almost because like
Yeah.
some of the Beta Xis, it was almost like getting drunk with my sister.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So it was just like, yeah, this is I was just like, hey, check these guys out. And also, since they were always going to be at the Pie Lamb house anyways, I never really had to worry because like that's just an easier as a big brother, an easier way that I could watch out and make sure that you were safe.
True. 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 Okay. Piggybacking on that, because yes, at one point before I was even part of Beta Xi, I was like, I'm gonna show up at these parties no matter what. Good luck. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
remember,
Yeah. Yeah. No matter what, I would say, hey, don't come over tonight. It'd be like, well, there's Brandi.
Gabby's in the party. Let's go.
Yeah, I'd come home from a wrestling show. This is whenever I was living at the Banner. And whenever I was living at Banner, the Banner, it was called the Banner Estate. That's what we called it. It was a big green house. It was a Hulk of a house. It was the Hulk house, the Banner Estate. And I mean, every weekend, almost every day, we'd have, a
People over.
party or, tomfoolery going on.
Yeah.
And we would be fraternizing. And, and, yeah, so like I'd come home from either work or I'd come home from a wrestling show, and there would be
Hanging out.
chilling out, hanging
But like at the same time, like you're
in my room. Like I'd come home and there would be Brandi with a couple of people in my room. Oh,
me and
hey,
B Kelly hanging out.
hi. Glad I didn't have anything out or anything.
Okay, but like at the same time, like like I mean, your housemates were like, and your brothers, like they were so like kind and nice. Like Kenny is like the sweetest person you'll ever meet in like this earth. He reminds me of Suge so much.
Yes,
Like,
yes, yes,
yes. So
yes.
it's like
I'm
he's
glad I'm
never gonna
not the
be
only
like, you
person.
can't be here, Brady. You know what I mean? He'd be
Yeah,
like, all right, you guys can stay in here, you know? But like, or like, I mean, Kyle was cool. He'd be like, yeah, you guys come on. Like, we're cool, you know? Like, yeah, that's Wes's little sister. It's fine, you know? And I feel like, and Brett and Charlotte were just like off in their own little cubby hole back there. So they probably didn't even know I was there. But
I'm,
so
I'm so, I'm
piggybacking,
so I'm
go
so
ahead.
glad that you put the connection to Kenny and Suge because ever since I met Kenny, I was like, holy crap, this guy reminds me of Suge. Like would
Hmm.
jam out and play, even like the way that like Kenny would like let his hair hang whenever he would play was
Yeah,
just almost like Suge. Like his like some of his mannerisms, like his loose mannerisms, and just like sometimes the way he laughs, you know what I
yeah,
mean? Like it was, yeah, really reminded me of Sugar a lot.
yeah. Definitely could see that. Definitely could see that. And then so like kind of bouncing off that, were you were you mad that the first time that I ever smoked the marijuana, you were not there? I was a fawn.
Yeah, kind of, yeah, kind of, yeah. I mean, wild that you did it with mom.
I didn't do it with mom.
Oh, who'd you say you did it with?
Fawn.
Vaughn.
Remember Fawn that you dated and
Fawn.
Fawn took me to the Pineland
Fawn.
house and I was underage and she told them I was not underage and so
Yes. Uh, not mad at you, mad at Fawn. Very disappointed in her. And I mean, kind of upset that it wasn't with me. You know, I'm glad that you did it with someone that you trusted at the time and felt
mhm.
safe with. Like, so I am, but like, I guess I was more disappointed that you didn't feel that way with me to come and do it with me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, but at that time you were gone all the time. Like you were never at home.
true, very true.
Like, yeah. Okay.
Wait, so
Um,
what was the I got a question, a rebuttal question for that. What
yeah.
was like the talk into you smoking weed for the first, or was there a talking into and it was just gonna go down and you were like, oh, I want to try that? What? How was that?
I honestly don't even remember. I don't remember if like I would if Fawn like came over and like she was looking for you or something, or like we were just hanging out, but because Amy was there too, and so I don't I don't even know, but we like so vaguely I remember like us going somewhere. Maybe we were going to like get some food or like going to get a like a big swig or something like that with Fawn, and I think I just brought it up of like I think I want to try smoking the marijuana, you know, because I'm awkward and that's probably what I would say. And so um and she's like, "Oh yeah, you sure? You sure?" You know, and I'm like, "Yeah." And so I remember like being in her car and like us like trying, you know, but she like didn't really have anything or she didn't have very much. And so she's like, let's go over to the Pineland house. Like we'll know somebody. It'll be fine. And I'll never forget Austin like seeing me at the door and him be like, that's Wes's little sister. And she's like, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. And he's like, isn't she underage? And she's like, no. And I'm like, no, no, I'm 18. And he's like, I don't think so. And Mom was like, no, trust me. And, and so Austin's like, all right, but if I find out it's on you, you know what I mean? And so, yeah,
Wow. So you got it from Austin?
no, no,
Who'd you
I
get it from?
think I, I'm pretty sure we went into Coyle's room.
Ah,
Yeah,
I got you.
yeah. Then again, this was like 13 years ago. So, yeah. But yeah, I think that's like all the questions that I have for you, sir.
That's
But they're
it.
all about our later life.
So,
Oh, I have another one. I'm so sorry. I have another one. I forgot.
go ahead.
So, how did it make you feel like when mom and dad kind of put me in that position of being the one that like kept track of everything?
What do you mean?
Like, how did it make you feel like when mom and dad would give me the house key and not give you the house key? Or like
Uh,
make sure I memorize like our phone number, address, and everything like that.
um, at first, I felt like a disappointment. Just because, like, I know that they were getting frustrated at me a lot because of that, especially dad, because like changing the locks and having to re-get new keys and stuff like that, and having to put money into that, and us not having a lot of money, like so that'd just be like another thing, another worry that dad would have to have. So like, I know, I don't know. So like, and then like being frustrated at myself at the same time, being like, I know I had that, and then like not knowing. To be honest, it's been a problem with me throughout my whole life, being like setting something down and like going to do something and going back to it and not being able to find it. You know what I mean? Uh, like
That's part of your ADHD. Just putting it out there.
yeah. So like yeah, and then like them not like realizing like I'm having like there's like I have ADHD or a type of ADD, them just thinking like it's just me not trying, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
being
And
irresponsible.
having that stigma on me. Uh, to be honest, like throughout my whole life, like that's what it's felt like trying your hardest without being seen that you're trying at anything at all,
Yeah,
and making it seem like you're not even trying whenever you're actually like giving it your all
yeah,
just sucks.
yeah.
And like later on, it just dealing with that so much, just you just either you become compliant or like you just give up, and then like all the power goes to the other person, which
Yeah,
it did. It went on your shoulders just because like yeah, I quit giving up. I to this day can only tell you your phone number by heart, and that's only because it's two numbers off of mine. You know what I
it's just
mean?
rough, but that's not important.
Huh?
I said, I said it's just one number off, but that's not
Yeah.
important.
So I mean, like, yeah, I don't know numbers, addresses.
Mm-hmm.
I I couldn't tell you my address here. You know,
Yeah,
I couldn't tell you any of our addresses. I could barely tell you what street I was on.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's I don't know. It's it's weird not knowing that.
But I'm sure like that must have been really hard though for you. Like I'm sure that like that hit like hard, just having like that part like, taken away from you kind of, like that responsibility.
I mean, yeah, yeah, but I mean, yeah,
Because
yeah.
like I feel like, from like in some ways like we have that big brother like little sister like dynamic, but in some ways we don't. Like at the same time, you know what I mean? But I think that's because like you're more of like a carefree like spirit, you know what I mean? And I'm like an anxious, like you know what I mean? So but I think that's kind of also like how like siblings kind of go. Like one of them's like carefree and the other one's like, this is how it's gonna go. This is what's gonna happen. And the other person's like, let's go!
Let's do it.
Let's do
Yeah,
it.
that's always been like my thing is just like dive headfirst into everything. Just, I mean, it's not like like whenever I get into something, like I don't just like never like dip my toe into things ever. Jumping into pools, I mean, like literally jumping head first.
Yeah.
Everything that I do, like if
But I think also it's like beaten to your head. You don't half ask anything. You know what
yeah,
I mean? Like that one's also like you do it and do it right or you don't do it at all. You know what I mean? Like so
yeah, yeah, you jump on that bus and you ride it till the wheels fall off. Like
yeah,
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 you act like this thing's speed.
yeah,
And also I think like that's like the reason why like having to stop wrestling and like that like has hit me like really hard, you know, and I've had like a lot of trouble dealing with that. It's just because like my wheels haven't fallen off yet. I know
yeah,
that, you know
yeah.
what I
You've had
mean?
some injuries, but you're still walking.
Yeah, like I mean, I if I wanted to, I could still go. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
the only thing that's stopping me is me right now, and
Yeah.
that's I don't know, like it hurts sometimes.
Hmm. Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. Oh, another question. Did you ever get annoyed with all of my instruments, hearing all of them?
Um, oh, the piano, yeah, sometimes, yeah, the piano, yeah,
I guess with
yeah,
the guitar, you weren't like really at home much whenever I tried the guitar.
yeah. The guitar didn't bother me. I was never at home, so like you could have played that thing, you would just bother dad.
Yeah, I
But
did.
also like that's another thing. Like with those instruments and everything, like you would have bothered dad before you would have bothered me. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like if like I could go in there and mess with it too. You know what I mean? But like dad could only take hearing that instrument for so long out of key before you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. I tried, man. I tried. But I felt like once I was getting the hang of any instrument, like it would go away.
Yeah, like money trouble would have to come and it'd have to be pawned off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I never got into expensive hobbies.
I can like those are the only like things like I could think of to do though, you know what I mean? Because I feel like I couldn't do like the sports thing because you were already doing the sports thing. So it's like, there was not going to be two of us doing that. And there wasn't money into that either though. But it wasn't like I had expensive hobbies. Like they were gifts, like they weren't like our parents didn't have to pay nothing.
Right, right. And like, yeah. And I never got into think the only thing that I would have worth money would be the video game systems that would
Hmm.
sometimes get pawned off. But like dad would be into video games sometimes, so he would rather pawn like an instrument off rather than something that he would kind of be into. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
the only reason why our the Pioneer stereo was kept around so long because he could listen to music. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But yeah, anything that would like be worth something in the house got pawned off at
Yeah.
least once. That's to be honest, that's the reason why like I love my action figures and I still have my action figures to this day is because that was the one thing that I always could count on us having, no matter where we
Yeah.
went, no matter what happened to us, you know what I mean? Like even when we had to put things in storage, I had the tote of action figures. Like
Yeah.
those were the things that I had. It was
Yeah.
almost like a security blanket to me. Did you ever have like a security? You had the kitty, right?
Yeah.
Was
So
that
I had like the kitty kitty, but I think once we moved to Indiana, like she got left behind somehow. And then, um, but I also feel like like every time that I tried to like, I don't know, like you were always so sure of like what you wanted, you know what I mean? And like who you were. And so, and I feel like I always wanted that. Like I wanted to figure out like what I wanted and who I wanted to be. And so I was like grasping at like little everything, like let's try this instrument, let's try this instrument, or like let's try doing this or that. And so, but it was like I think like you talking about it and being like explaining it how you are like okay, like yeah, like those things like probably didn't go away because like mom played video games too. Like she would play like Pac-Man and like that Iggy like jumping thing too. And like so mom and dad enjoyed those video games. Like they enjoyed listening to music. So it's like in my head when I was little, it was like, how come only my stuff goes away? How come my stuff? You explaining that, it kind of like opens my eyes a little bit more because I would like, I mean, that would be another reason why I always felt like inadequate. You know what I mean? Because it was like, how come my stuff is always the stuff that gets taken away? Like, why is it always my stuff? Like, why can't it be what's the stuff this time? You know what I mean? So I think that explains it because they like
Mhm.
that stuff too.
Yeah.
Nobody likes my stuff.
They
Just
just weren't.
me.
Well, I mean, like, to be honest, like, mom is kind of like the coordinated out of the two. You know what I mean? Like, so, like, and she was like the sports person of the two. Like, dad was never really like a sports person, never really like, I wouldn't say hand-eye coordinated because like he could do like some athletic things,
Yeah.
but also at the same time like he's tall and like I mean
He
a
never
bit.
had a chance whenever he was
Yeah,
growing up to do any of those things.
also that too. Yeah, and mom had like baseball that she was into and cheerleading that she was
Mom
into, and
was
dad was
varsity
also.
cheerleading, basketball, softball, like
Yeah, and
she
dad
did
was
it all.
dad was like also like more mechanically inclined. You know what I mean? He could build anything out of anything. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, and so I don't know, like but instruments was never really their thing, never really their deal. They never really got into it. So I think like they never had a bass ground. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
an ability to be like to show you this is a bass ground because they
Mhm.
didn't know a bass ground of instruments. The only person that would be Suge. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Whenever we were over there, they were always either playing, not showing, but playing and drinking and
Locked
doing
in
the
a room
thing.
smoking.
Yeah. But I
Yeah.
think that's also probably why you didn't get into instruments too, or like you know what I mean, like the things I got into, like there's at least like a bass ground.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, that I could pick up from them, and then I could go into go into it easier. Where like
Mhm.
instruments and stuff like that, they never really did. So like they couldn't tell you if they could tell you it was out of key. They couldn't tell you why.
Yeah. They could tell they didn't understand like my draw to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a question. What what three songs would you pick that would describe your life? Like if somebody heard them, they'd be like, all right, that's that homie, you know?
That's like the essence of Wes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I know that I only gave you three songs, but I couldn't pin it down to three songs. No,
Okay.
no, listen. Okay, so like I would whenever whenever I asked you that song or asked you the question last week, like I was trying to do it to myself. And what I did was, however, is that I pinned it down to four genres of music. I picked four songs from four different genres of music because I always felt like these four genres kind of represented our life the most. And the genres were punk or rock, country music, blues, and rap, right?
Okay.
Would you agree to that? Is that
Yeah.
like a far out assessment?
Far out.
So, so rap, uh, there was 3 songs that was hard to pick from. I don't know why my voice
How
is
many
cracking.
songs do you have,
Oh,
friend? You said 4, now we're
it was,
going to 3 in
listen,
just one
listen.
genre.
It was hard. This was hard. This is a hard question for me. But for the rap category, I pinned it down to 1 song, and it's from Kid Cudi, and that's the soundtrack to my life.
Okay. I'm gonna write these down so I can listen to them.
All right, you've heard that song.
I don't know.
But a close contender to that was Do You Remember by Chance the Rapper?
Okay.
I don't know if you've heard that one or not. I know you've heard the blues song
Okay.
because the blues song's Bob Seger. Turn the Page.
Oh yeah, I remember Dad singing that.
Country was down to 2 songs, but Hank Jr. with Family Tradition won it
Oh,
out.
where's that?
Waylon Jennings, I've Always Been Crazy, came in second. And then punk was really hard, but I narrowed that one down to 1, and that's from Social Distortion, and it's called Gimme Your Sweet and Low Down. And to be
Okay.
honest, like you really have to watch the music video with that, because the music video is like really good with that song.
Yeah. Okay.
And those would be mine.
So 6.
Well, no, I narrowed it down to the Kid Cudi, Bob Seger, Hank Jr., and Social Distortion. That's 4. I just
Okay.
had contenders in there, you know? Could have been a
Honorable
contender.
mention.
I
Honorable
could have been
mention.
a contender. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Okay. I'm gonna have to listen to some of these 'cause I haven't listened to a lot of rap. So
Well, yeah, you had, and like another
some
honorable mention for rap would be Ludacris's "Growing Pains."
okay, that one I could sing in my like sleep.
Yeah, I know you know that one.
Bro, we used to sit outside on the front stoop playing that on the boombox, on my boombox, listening to it over and over again, drinking our freaking like probably Kool-Aid jammers or our little like, oh my gosh, singing it, like bumping, like the whole thing all the
Yeah,
time.
you have to. Does John know that one? John, have you heard of that song before?
I made him listen to
Yes.
it like last week and he was like, what? But I'm like, bruh, this explains so much.
I was just surprised of the song. I was just like, oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It has a
Like I'm
good
singing
beat.
it in my head right now.
Yeah. Listen,
Yeah,
I was never the singer nor the instrument player. That was great.
I tried, man. I tried. It didn't go anywhere.
All
Oh
right.
my God. Okay. Okay. So, what was your favorite memory of us as kids?
Our favorite memory?
Your favorite memory?
Oh man. Um, I think my favorite memory would have to be probably either like the bottle rocket fight, you know what I mean, and the big bonfire
Hmm.
with everybody. Um, being in Suge's backyard, just I don't know, just something about that backyard being back there with the music playing, the Christmas lights everywhere, the horseshoe pit, the garden, you know,
Yeah.
with it being like a jungle, but also being like in an urban area, just like, I don't
Its
know, like,
own
huh?
little oasis.
Yeah, it was like an escape from the world right smack dab in the center of the world. Like, I don't know, it just was like a come together of cultures, different people,
Hmm.
like in different things. Uh, us swimming in the cornfield at Dale's
Yeah.
house. I think that's a really good memory of us doing that, of us all having fun and like,
Being
just like,
free,
huh?
being carefree.
Yeah, being carefree and being kids.
Yeah. I think what I love most about our childhood, honestly, was that like no matter how like messed up things were or like how poor we were or anything, like somehow our parents, even though it might not have been like the safest or most healthiest way for us, they still found a way to like enjoy life. You know what I mean? And like even if like they got trashed like the night before, like drunk, the next morning having coffee and breakfast with grandma, like
Yeah.
those are things that like those are things that you cherish. You know what I mean?
Us all used to like getting together and playing rummy with like
Yeah.
no cable or spades with no cable, just like us sitting around that octagon wooden table with a pad and just cards and just playing
Yeah.
cards.
Just sitting at a table like laughing and enjoying each other's company. You know what I mean? Like I feel like so much these days like people don't do that. Like we're so like on our phones and or like watching TV and stuff like that or like, you know, doing shit like this, you know. But like at the same time, like I feel like those are like we had such good times. Like even though like we had some really screwed up times and some really bad times, like we had some really fun times at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. Seeing the silver lining and everything is definitely like a plus, but also like being able to make the silver lining and to see it, that's
Hmm.
like the big thing is like knowing that you're in a shitty situation, but making the most of that shitty situation is
Yeah.
just like I don't know. It
Like
kind of reminds me of like a redneck saying, like you might be living in shit, but a pig loves it. You know what I mean?
yeah, like it was like we might have been in some really shitty situations, but we always had each other, you know what I mean? And like we always had our cousins and like so and we were always told like as long as we all have each other, like it's gonna be fine. Like even if like it wasn't, like but we still all had each other. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So that is like something I want to instill in Jaren, you know, as he's growing up. It's like you might not have the best of everything, even though I'm gonna try to give him everything, he might not have the best of everything. But as long as like we're together and he's happy, like that's what matters.
Right, right. Uh,
That's good shit.
huh?
That's the good shit right there.
Yeah, that's the good shit right there. Have you ever like my like thing is just like I don't really like without showing like Remington bad stuff. I don't know how to show or not like the you know what I mean? Like the one reason why we stayed out of some stuff is because like we saw it firsthand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like
How we're gonna
being
teach our kids,
yeah,
like not
like I don't know how to like show my kids stuff without showing her. I don't know how to show my kids something that is bad without actually like showing her,
Yeah, that's
or
bad.
even like. So that's something that like I'm gonna have to learn as a parent to do,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially without just being like a hey, don't do that, because we all know that kids will do the exact opposite of what you tell them. You know what I mean?
But I think if you're raising her in a safe environment, you know what I mean? Like, and she feels safe and she feels like she can come to you and talk to you, you know, and as long as, like, she's gonna respect you and your opinion, you know what I mean? If you're raising her in her, you respect her, she respects you, like, she's in a safe environment, then I think that, like, if she has, like, obviously it's going to be some natural consequences to a certain extent of like some trial and error kind of situations, but like I think that we still were able to go to our parents and ask them about certain things, you know what I mean? And like even like we were able to like verify with them, you know. And so i think I think that as like we grow as parents and we like show them that like they can come to us with everything, I think they'll be more willing. And I think if we listen to them and not just be like it's my way or the highway, I think they'll be more willing to come to us.
Uh,
I don't know. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing either. Let's be real.
hey, you're the wisest one out of the two of us, so I'm listening. All right, like,
Listen, I
I'm
just
taking
do
notes,
therapy,
yo. I'm
okay?
taking notes.
I'm into therapy, and like one of the things I talk about the most is parenting, and I'm like, I feel like I'm fucking all of this shit up, like, and she's like, no, no, you're actually doing a good job, like. So I think, yeah, listening to like our instincts, but also learning from like past mistakes, letting them be kids, letting
Yeah.
them fuck up. So
Patience. I've learned so much patience.
I think we all know that I'm a person that does not have patience. And I think the only person that I really have patience for is just my son. Like, I have no patience for like hardly anyone else. Even my wonderful husband, like, he has like a saint, he's a saint for putting up with me half the time, I feel like,
Thank you.
because shout out to the homie. Because but I don't have a lot of patience, and I that's one thing I struggle with. And like, but with Jaron I have to constantly remind myself that like he is a little person and he is learning from us, like
Mhm.
how to be a person, like, and his brain is not developed like ours, like he doesn't understand things, like it's still growing and learning. And like if I want him to be a good person growing up, then I better be a fucking good person.
Mhm.
So, you know, so that, and just like reminding myself like he's a kid, he's allowed to do things, he's a kid, he's gonna be allowed, he's a kid, he's gonna be a wild animal because he's a kid, you know, and like that's okay.
Oh, I have one more question
Yeah.
before we say our goodbyes and everything.
Yeah.
Um,
We just did that tangent about parenting. It's fine, guys.
yeah. Do you feel like you're raising like a little Wes? And because all the time I feel like I'm raising a little Brandy.
So yeah, so some of the things that he does, like I'm just like, because he has no fear. And like I was terrified as a child. And like I was terrified of everything. And so like him, like he has like no fear of all these things. And he just is like, well, and he'll play with his like toys and like talk, and like his wrestling guys, he'll like talk and like pretend to be them, and like, you know what I mean? And like that reminds me of you because like that was you growing up. You always had your wrestling guys. And so he has his wrestling guys and they're like, you know, fighting or they're like jumping off of stuff, and he's like talking to them. And I'm just like, you know what I mean? But I'm like, yeah, I feel like he has a lot of your qualities, you know, that are good, and the fearless parts and stuff like that. And I think that those are also like mixed in with John's too, because I know he was a wild child as, you know, a kid. And so then I see him like him doing backflips on his trampoline now. And I'm like, okay, Steven, calm down. You know what
He's
I
doing
mean?
backflips now?
Yeah. He holds on to the little bar and he'll like flip himself over or he'll like flip his legs up and hold on to the bar and just like do like pull ups, like crunches. And I'm just like, who are you? Where did you even learn this? And then he'll do like a backflip to get out of it. And I'm just like, okay,
Yeah.
Steven and Wes right there. But because I love my husband and he's amazing, but he's not a graceful being.
I fall a lot and trip. The couch bites me.
The couch bites you, bro. The couch has been in the same place for 5 years.
Not this one.
It's in the same place as the old one.
Yeah, but it hasn't bit me yet. That should be a testament to something right there. Like,
Okay. But yeah, so I'm just thankful though that he did get some of your qualities and some of like Steven's and stuff like that because like he he does fall down, but he doesn't. I feel like he's not as like clumsy as John and I are.
I see a lot of like she picks up on stuff so much, and like she'll be so quick to like put you in your place and like be like that's not right, or like this isn't how we do things, and like I'm just like, all right, Brandi, okay.
Yep. Yeah. Which is like also another thing. Like we have some crazy things happen, but like we were raised to stand up for the things we believe in and for like what's right. So it's like I feel like a lot of that came from our upbringing too. Like you stand up for what's right and you stand up for like the little guy too. And so, but she's sassy.
She's sassy, sass of frass, like just like sometimes she puts the ass in sassy. I tell you what, like
She's just letting you know how it's gonna be, okay,
oh
homie?
yeah. Oh, I know. It's her world. I'm just living in it right now.
Yeah, yeah. You're just renting space.
I'm just renting space.
Yeah. Jaren has some of that sass too, and I'm just like the other day John was like talking and I was in the living room and he was in the kitchen and Jaren was watching a show and he was like, guys, can you please shush? I'm trying to watch my show. Okay, little homie. Like, all right. I was like, buddy, like we're trying to have a conversation. If you would like to watch your show by yourself where no one's around, you can go and watch it in your room. And he's like, no, I'm watching it on this TV. I was like, okay, well, daddy and mommy are not going to stop talking just because you don't want us to. But yeah, Lord help us.
Help us.
Yeah. Okay, but next episode is a surprise.
Huh?
What's our next episode gonna be about? Because I don't know.
I don't think we I don't think we've gotten that far. I think that's going to be our discussion after we sign off, probably.
Yeah. Anyway, tune in next week. Like I said, check us out on our Instagram page, Temper Tantrums Pod. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Leave a comment below. If you're part of some of these stories.
Hashtag John's a saint.
Hashtag what?
It's a hashtag John's a saint.
Hashtag John's a saint. Saint John.
St. John, everyone.
Hey, I
That'll
gotta
be
suck
my
it up
next
while I can.
tattoo.
You got to change your name now down below.
St. John.
Saint John.
That's going to be your new introduction. Hi, I'm Brady. This is Wes, and this is St. John. Okay, but like, comment below, share, subscribe, whatever you want to do. Hang out, homies. But check us next week. We'll be uploading every Thursday?
Yep, every Thursday. Planning on every Thursday at 10 a.m.
Every Thursday at 10 a.m.
Yep, that way you can hit it up while you're getting ready to go to lunch and listen to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea, sir.
Lunch
Thanks,
break.
St. John.
Yeah.
Bless you, my child.
That's it. We just lost all of our Catholic following. We respect all religions in this place.
My name
Okay.
could be Peter. Could have been Saint Peter, you know. So
I feel like there's probably a St. John too.
There's a saint everything.
St. Brady.
Everyone's a saint.
Saint Shaquana.
Edit that out. Edit that out. You can't do that. Okay, so yeah, check us out next week. Listen in, give us some thoughts on what you guys think, and if you hear some things you want us to talk about, let us know.
Yeah, if you hear like a story that you wanted us to go on a deep dive, if you hear like something that we just scratched the surface yet, and y'all are like, wait, I want to hear more about this subject, or some of our friends out there, if y'all know that a story that we haven't said or anything like that, just let us know, and we'll tell the story here, or we'll start remembering some stories. If not, I guess we'll start telling some other stories about like after childhood, like what we got into
As adults.
as adults. That could be our next one. I mean, Lord knows I could go into some stories. But yeah, we can do that and everything like that. And make sure to tune in every Thursday at 10
At
a.m.
10 a.m. or, anytime after Thursday. You can do what you gotta do. We understand.
Yeah, it could be Friday. I'd
It could
let
be
us know.
Friday. We'll give you a little grace on Friday at 10 a.m. That's fine.
We're gonna be putting out shorts, so like check our little shorts out that we do.
Our
We got
shorty.
we got our one short that's like way up there, which we thank all of you. Thank you for like tuning in and watching and stuff like that. Yeah, I've been trying to hit up all the comments as much as possible, like getting in there. If y'all don't know, the Shank Barzini guy is Wes. That was my wrestling name before I hung up the boots. So there isn't like some weird guy wearing eyeliner named Shank getting into y'all's DMs, or not DMs, but into y'all's comments.
Okay, let's
me.
back it up. That is a weird guy.
Yeah, I mean he's weird, but it's
He's
me.
weird, but not creepy weird. Not like weird.
No,
Weird.
it's crazy, but this is me.
Even better.
Even better.
Less eyeliner. Wears a hat more.
Is that because your hairline?
Hey, man, listen.
You chose violence. Well, jeez.
Yeah.
All right, well,
Yeah,
that's it.
please check us out and everything. And we'll see y'all on the flip side.
Okay.